Thank you, John. As he says, my role here is to talk about some of the more specific things that we've done in SNH over the recent years. That's who I am. That's what my job is. We're a middle-sized, non-departmental public body responsible for the Minister of Environment and Climate Change. Our specific function is to promote the care and enjoyment of the natural heritage, help people enjoy it responsibility, enable greater understanding and awareness of it, and promote its sustainable use now and for future generations. That's written into the Natural Heritage Act. Lots of useful words in there that actually help deliver some of the things that we're talking about. But I think what I hope you'll see by the end of this presentation is that many of the things that I'm talking about will apply regardless of the type of organization or the size. So I'm here to talk about what we've done to help our own work travel live up to these corporate objectives, and also to help deliver the climate change duties for public bodies. SNH is seen in the Climate Change Act as a major player, as they say, and we accept that. We're happy with that because we recognize that climate change is one of the biggest threats to the natural heritage, and also it costs us a lot of money, both in terms of energy and travel, and also the mitigation and adaptation costs. Money that we can spend better on places like this, which is the Lochmaree Islands National Nature Reserve in Wester Ross. Do come and visit. It's a very nice place. We have a visitor centre somewhere on the other side of the loch there. There are buses. You don't have to drive. My role in SNH is to work with managers and staff across SNH and with government and other public bodies to make SNH into a low-carbon and greener organisation. That's a tall challenge, but it's an exciting one. What I want to do today is to look at things from a perspective of what are the challenges, what are the solutions, and what are the benefits, and trying to tease some of them out into a sort of operational, technical, and management aspects. Obviously, there's a huge amount of overlap and interlinking with all of these, but I hope that by teasing some of them out, we'll be able to see how they stand by themselves, and also how each bit helps other bits of the system work, because as we've been hearing all throughout today, it's about getting everything to flow. It's about making sure that each of us are not banging our shins on the same bits of process or systems that hinder good practice rather than encourage it. We're all familiar with the excuses for doing nothing. Oh, if only the system would do this, yada, yada, yada. And I'll finish with a brief look into the future with my crystal ball. Right, what are the operational challenges? Each of us will have our own key customers and partners, but the same principles probably apply. It's the locations of our premises, our properties, the things that we look after, some of which could be historical reasons. Could have been, 30 years ago they were relevant, but perhaps now they're not so. Each of us, the work is located in a particular place, and the ways that we work. Some of these are more controllable than others. And my job has been about trying to identify where we can actually have control and influence and act on them first. We work with people, managers of land and water, legislators, local authorities and other public bodies, and of course with the Natural Heritage of Scotland. And I think a lot of what I'm talking about today is about culture and change, because nothing stays the same, and we all have to find the benefits out of we have to make the systems work. A brief overview of what we do and where, I hope that you can see from that map, all the red dots are where we have a staffed presence. So from Unst in the north down to the Solway, from Stornoway to Galashiels, we've got that number of staff scattered around. We have an area-based structure and 2 large corporate offices in Inverness and just north of Perth. One of the things that I identified quite early on is the importance in distinguishing the types of travel, to be able to distinguish the office to office, the office to nature, the office to partners, because we can do different things and have more control over different aspects of that. Some of the technical challenges have been described this morning already. are our offices and visitor centres and whatever in the right place to match our customers? Can we rely on the technology? Do we have enough to talk amongst ourselves? Do we have the right kind of information? What's available? Is it accurate? Is it helpful? Can we get it? And are our systems robust enough? Have they been designed for the benefits of the people who set up the systems, or have they been designed for the benefit of the organization? Do they work for us? Do they work with each other? I'm sure we're all familiar with, let's say you've got an HR system that's powered by one tool, and you've got a finance system that's maybe powered by a different tool, and you spend a lot of developer time trying to make the systems speak to each other. That's not very sensible. And do they give us the right data, which has been said before? Management challenges. Every manager or director needs to know the answers to these kind of questions. You know, are we there yet? That's basically what a chief executive always asks me. You know, where are we on our carbon trajectory? Where are we on our targets and so forth? But sometimes they need help in finding what the right questions are, and sometimes and where to find the answers. But sometimes the questions reveal more about ingrained practice rather than operational need. And these are just some examples that I sort of have heard on occasion, and I'm sure you've all heard similar types of questions. Suggests a mismatch between actions and objectives, and a misunderstanding of how greener travel can actually help managers fix some of the problems they have about resources, about cost, which we've also heard about today. Right, I want to now move on to some of the solutions that we've found that have worked for us. Better turn the page, that would help. Don't want to get ahead of myself. We carried out a strategic property review of all of the 40 or so buildings that SNH occupied around the country, analysing the financial costs, whether they were operationally still valid and useful, and what the carbon costs. We then put all that crunched it through the formulas. And so we have now identified which properties we want to keep, and therefore we will enhance and improve, which we definitely want to get rid of because they're in the wrong place, they're completely leaky, they'll never be a useful configuration of space, and those in the middle that we can do something about. So we've moved out of 3 offices in the last 2 years, and the staff from there have moved in with other organisations, and we're continually moving. I mean, our main office in Inverness, which currently has 300 staff, there's another. The Crofting Commission moved in a couple of years ago. We've got Bordnagalica moving in at the end of this year, and possibly another 50 staff moving in. So there's co-locations or so forth. We have a travel hierarchy in SNH. It's in our staff handbook and in our TNS policies. You know, I don't need to say what a travel hierarchy, but avoiding mainland UK air flights is the, you know, if you want to fly purely within UK mainland, you have to get somebody to sign that off, because we don't really like that, because public sector bodies can get hassled in the press by campaigning journalists about their behaviour, and so that focuses the mind of directors. We manage a fleet of around 100 cars, a pool fleet, and we move them around to make sure that they're in the right place for the right job and they're being used enough. It used to be that people in, say, Aviemore would say, that's our car. No, it's SNH's car, and we will move it where we think it's useful and where it can get the most efficiencies. Our focus is on the office-to-office travel, because we control both ends of that process, and we can put systems in place to reduce the need for travel and to make the travel more efficient and effective. We try not to reinvent the wheel, but add value to ways of working. We have a room booking system where you can book rooms and catering for meetings. As of Monday, we've added our pool vehicles onto that so that staff can book a pool vehicle. When they do that, they will automatically choose the vehicle with the lowest emissions as the vehicle that person has booked. If 2 or more people are going to the same place around about the same time, a box will come up saying, you can car share, please contact such and such a person. And, well, as I say, that goes live on Monday, and we've tested it, and people are happy with it. Let's see what the real world is like. We upgraded our finance system in 2007 and made sure that at that opportunity, every different mode of travel had a different account code, which meant that we could actually extract data. So I now know how many miles, how many pounds we've done for trains, for ferries, for planes, for buses, whatever. And we can record it against the cost centres as well. We've got a vehicle admin system with trackers in the cars, so we know where each car has gone, what speed it's been done, the fuel efficiency, how often it's used. And progressively, we're having fewer, smaller, and greener vehicles. We've cut the fleet size by about 7% a year over the last couple of years. It's about making the fleet match the actual needs of the organisation and not what local managers say are the needs, because they're perhaps protective of their resources. They feel that if resources are taken away from them, then they'll have less, I don't know, something or other. We've got about 28 video units scattered across our offices, 8 in Great Glenhouse and Inverness. I echo what people have said before, that teleconferencing is often much better and just as good and quicker, and it's easier to organise. We do a lot more e-learning training as well, so we don't have to take 20 people to our training centre near Perth. We can do the finance, the procurement process online. More video conferencing at other public bodies and more opportunities to do this kind of non-travel connections would be better. I asked Barry if I could mention Victoria Quay as an example where perhaps more effort might be needed. He said that would be all right. We changed our TNS system. This is a screenshot of the TNS system, where now if you're claiming expenses, you have to say how many miles you've done. Whether it's by train or plane or whatever. And we've got a drop-down list of common journeys. We've tried to make it as easy for people as possible. That data then feeds in, and so that we can extract it. And it gives us finer-grained management information, which is what it's all about. And this is a screenshot as well of a greening database that we built, and it's been live since August of last year. All of the various meter readings, mileage reports, waste records, paper purchasing, water meter readings, all of that goes into this system. And that gives us a number of things. It gives us time to use data rather than collect data. That was the main selling point for this, because it was quite an expensive thing to develop. But we can add value to the data rather than just spending all the time collecting it. And this is an extension of our property asset management system. So for any office or any management unit, as we call our sort of departments, you can have an at-a-glance snapshot of where you are against targets, against last year's performance. You've got all the data down below. The system knows where the data belong by building or by management unit. It converts the raw data into CO2 values and presents it. The CO2 is allocated per management unit, and I'll come on to that in a bit more. And it produces standard reports that are what you want. So if you want, for example, if you wanted to have a pool travel report, you can create it and it's always there. We're happy to share the system with other bodies. We already do it with a couple. So if you're interested in this kind of thing and would like to, get involved, bring your checkbook and we can talk. We found it extremely useful. When my director says, as he does, he's had a good idea on the way into work, and he comes in and asks me, what was our performance for the last 2 months, or how is that piece of kit doing its business? I can, almost by the time he's got up to his desk, I can find the answer for him, and I can give him that, and then he can use that to promote the message. In terms of management solutions, again, this is not rocket science, we try and avoid dictating to managers how to do things. They don't like that. We prefer to say that the management team and the government want SNH to achieve X, Y, Z. A, B, and C are our biggest priorities, and we want you and you and you to achieve them. Every unit manager is allocated a certain amount of CO2 per year based on our past performance and our targets, our own targets and the government targets. So their target relates to the type of work they do. If your area covers Orkney, Shetland, and the Northern Isles, then you will need to fly and you'll need to visit crofters. But if you're finance, you can take the train, and finance are mostly chained to the desk anyway. We don't allow them out. So each department, if you like, has a different travel pattern, and therefore has different things that it can do about that. So there's no point in asking unit managers, middle managers, to change something that they are not in control of. We don't just say, here's your target, get on with it. I can provide analysis of travel patterns. I can extract all of this data from our finance systems, from our car booking systems, and I can give them a report and say, in the last year, in your unit, your staff did X thousand pool car miles, X thousand grey fleet miles, you did 412 train journeys, you did 58 ferry journeys, your carbon total is X, your target is Y. Here's some recommendations about how you, in your unit, can amend the way that you carry out your work in order to achieve the targets that your share of the organization's targets. And of course, I always, any chance I get, I remind them how much money this could save and how much it helps SNH achieve its main objectives. And it keeps us in the eye of ministers and other bodies that we want to influence, and that's always a good thing when money's tight. There's enough information to drown a whale. So the trick is about giving people the right information they need, especially managers, in a simple format, and then offer more when asked. On a monthly basis, every unit manager gets this. It's basically down the left, on a month-by-month basis and a year-to-date basis. For each of the 22 management units, it shows what their actual and cumulative carbon performance is against their targets. So they can immediately see how they are doing, and I get phone calls from the ones who've got red, and they say, we seem to have gone over our target. Either they bring excuses or they ask for solutions. I'm happy to deal with either. Excuses are often, you can often learn how to tailor your advice by the kind of excuses that people make. Sometimes even for some, that's even too much. And so a 4-line email about how the organization is doing, and perhaps praising and mentioning particular bits of the organization that are doing well or perhaps need encouragement. A bit of internal challenge between unit managers is no bad thing. We provide them with choices, and most of you will be familiar with these carbon calculators. I should have put a ChooseAnotherWay one on for today, but we will do that next time. We publicize these kind of things to our unit managers, but sometimes people need to balance all of their objectives. And so I came up with this thing, which is the top half. It's about how to select the best modes of work travel for your own particular needs. The top part in green is set in stone, if you like. I have prioritized and ranked the different corporate aspects and priorities, and then people can put in their own personal things: fatigue, comfort, convenience. If you're 6'3", there's no point in going on a sleeper to London, because you won't fit and you won't be able to sleep. So it's to help managers, it's to give them the responsibility and the ability and the tools to actually make decisions to manage their resources. A unit manager phoned me up and said, can I authorize one of his staff members to fly to Bristol? I went, no, It's your job. You've got a carbon allocation. It's up to you to manage that however best you see fit. I'm not really interested in micromanaging. I'm interested in the overall performance and the direction of travel. Sorry about that. Yeah, I know. Okay, now in the interesting bits, the benefits. Having better information and systems and resources makes it easier to make better decisions, which makes it easier to achieve our operational goals. We've had a lot of support from Carbon Trust, Energy Saving Trust, bodies like that in providing tools and support. I wanted to just show you some pictures. The dark line at the top is the relative fuel price, oil price, and the blue line is the cost, and the green line is the CO2 since 2003-04. We've cut our travel costs by 35% and our CO2 by 23% over that time, despite the increase in fuel costs. That makes my Director of Corporate Services a happy man. I also have this picture, which shows our overall carbon emissions performance, the black line, which is going nicely down, and various trajectories and so forth related to the 2020 and 2050 targets. Again, that reassures the Chief Executive and the Director of Corporate Services who have signed off large investments in energy or travel or whatever. They can see that, they can see the benefits, they can see well, yes, they can see the benefits. I want to finish with what apologies for a large dump of words, and I don't necessarily want you to read this. We have a low carbon vision, which our management team and our board approved in 2010. I find this extremely useful because it's something that I can have that says, look, the directors and the board want us to get to this, and this is where they want us to prioritize. My job is to help you to help deliver this. So it means I'm not having to continually justify the decisions or the things that I want people to do. It's there up in green and black and white, whatever. Things will change. Things will always change, but the next 20 years are going to be even more changeable. Climate change, financial change, whatever. Some of these things we can lead on, and we can power ahead knowing that we are in control of the process. Others, we can influence others. We can influence our partners, our customers, about how we deal with them. And some we have to wait for. We have to wait for transport infrastructure. We have to wait for charging points. But assuming that we've got our systems and information all sweet and linked up, and our managers know where we're going, we can tell the difference between about the actions that we can do, and we can make the right decisions with more confidence, and so reducing the risks because we understand them better. Hopefully we'll make fewer mistakes and have less inertia, and hopefully some of these words and thoughts will help you on your greener journeys, wherever they may be. The annual greening report is on the SNH website. I put it up there yesterday. That tells you exactly what you've done, so you can see if any of this is porkies. That's my contacts, and Siggy is our vehicles officer who runs the pool fleet and has been doing the grey fleet review. So both of us would be delighted to hear from you. Thank you.